My story begins when I was hunched in a pile of my own filth, a ghost in my own apartment. I hadn't truly spoken to anyone in years, content to let the grime and the silence bury me alive. A single sharp line of sunlight cut through the dusty air, a golden knife dividing the small, rotten room in two. It was the only clock I had. In that beam, tiny sprites of dust danced and pulsed, moving with a draft I couldn't feel. They were my only company. But today, beyond the light, a new darkness gathered. It was blacker than the rest of the shadows, a solid shape that seemed to shimmer at its edges. My voice was a dry croak, like rust scraping on rust. "Eleanor, is that you?" The darkness didn't speak. Instead, a low vibrating hum filled the room, making the dust motes buzz and the floorboards thrum beneath me. I felt it in my own body, a static charge running up my nerve endings in a steady rhythm. A strange, giddy feeling bubbled up inside me, the first spark of life I'd felt in 15 years. It had been 15 years since my heart died, since I lost her. I never expected to feel anything again, especially not from using the old Ouija board I found in my granddaughter's forgotten box of toys. Tears, hot and sticky, ran down my crusted cheeks. "I thought I'd never get to talk to you again, Eleanor," I sniffled. "I've been mourning for so long. I don't even remember my last words to you, the ones I should have said." My face fell, buried in a fresh wave of grief. I had tried to summon my wife, to beg for her forgiveness. But the thing I brought back felt different. It pulsed with a cold, giddy glee that had nothing to do with love. I felt a chilling thought, as if whispered from the shadow itself. "This one would be fun to play with. He'll believe anything." I forced myself to quiet down, trying for a nostalgic grin. "I need your help, Eleanor. Like always." The beam of daylight was the only thing separating us. "You know what I've lost. Only you can fix my broken heart." My voice dropped to a choked whisper. "Forgive me for my sins, for my violence. I beg you. Even now, admitting my wickedness aloud made my stomach churn. I was always afraid the neighbors I never saw might suddenly start listening. I need your forgiveness," I pleaded, trying to open my clouded eyes wider, hoping to see her face emerge from the abyss. The shimmering darkness didn't show a face. It just seemed to lean forward, hungry to hear more. A cold understanding settled in my bones. This thing wasn't my wife. It was ancient, and it found my confession utterly, horribly delightful. The hum was the vibration in the air took on a rougher harmony, something like a voice. 1,000 voices, whispering as one. "Why?" the unified voice hissed. "Should you be forgiven?" The question echoed not in the room, but inside my skull. Suddenly, the memory I'd buried for 15 years ignited in my mind. I felt my own hands, strong and full of rage, locked around her throat. I felt her life fighting back, and then giving up. Like water leaking through cupped palms, her life spilled into nothing. I clawed at my own face, desperate to extinguish the images. "I didn't mean to hurt you," I screamed at the darkness. "I was so full of fury. Your sweet face, your neck, it was the closest thing to destroy." I sobbed, my hands falling limp at my sides. Just then, the sun shifted. The beam of light vanished, and the boundary between us was gone. The shimmering darkness lurched forward, surrounding me completely. A cold, vast emptiness that echoed with a silent, monstrous laugh. A new thought, cruel and sharp, was planted in my head. This building, this tomb of my crime, had to burn. The voice, now sounding like Eleanor's, but cold and sharp, scolded me from all sides. "You denied me a grave. Your shame will be my epitaph. Where is my corpse?" the voice demanded. "The one you so graciously lent the wardrobe to. Go on, find it." Under the darkness's command, I stumbled to the wardrobe. There, hanging from a hook, was what was left of her. A skeleton, draped in the remnants of her burial clothes. The voice commanded me to search through the filth for hours. I found her old wedding dress, yellowed and decaying, in a moldy box. With trembling hands, I dressed her bones in the silk. It was a grotesque, sacred ritual. I found her old earrings. There was no skin to pierce, so I hung them in the hollows of her skull, below where her ears used to be. She looked like a morbid constellation twinkling in the dark. I stood back, the hostile presence of the entity watching me from behind, brimming with satisfaction. "You looked beautiful that day," I screeched into the darkness, caressing the silk. "I never told you. I'm so sorry." The unified voice struck me again, sharp and final. "What use is beauty kept in darkness? Take me out into the light. Now!" I hesitated, the thought of the fire returning. "But I must burn this place, mustn't I?" I asked, hoping for a reprieve. The response was not a word, but a wave of pure fury that slammed into me, shaking the apartment to its foundations. The answer was an emphatic no. The fire will be lit. Resigned, I lifted the beloved corpse over one shoulder. It was lighter than I ever remembered her being. I grabbed an old bottle of vodka from a pyramid of them in the corner of the kitchen. It was my only fuel. I stumbled through the apartment, splashing a trail of alcohol from my door down the rickety stairs. The skeleton bounced on my back with every step. Outside, a new day was dawning, the sky turning a pale, sickly gray. The city was stirring. I burst from the front door of the tenement building, a creature from another world. The corpse and I were flung onto the pavement amidst a few early commuters. I turned back, lit a match, and tossed it onto the puddle of vodka at the doorway. It erupted with a satisfying whoosh. Fire crawled up the building's facade, bursting from windows with explosions of heat that singed the hair on my scalp. I turned to face the street. A small crowd had gathered, their faces a mixture of shock, confusion, and horror. A righteous, terrible duty filled me. "I confess," I screamed, my voice raw. "I killed her, all those years ago." I pointed a sinewy arm at the blazing inferno. "I hid in there with her, hiding from my crime. I murdered my wife. Rage took me and I strangled the life from her," I spluttered, looking into the skeleton's empty face with a twisted caress in my tone. The crowd's shock turned to anger, a low buzz that grew louder with the flames. I could feel the demon's delight, a pit of unholy happiness blazing within the fire. In an instant, a flash of metal. I felt a sharp, piercing pain between my ribs and looked down to see the handle of a knife sticking out of my chest. A wicked blow to the back of my head sent me flying, face first onto the pavement. The impact drove the knife deeper. As I rolled over, I saw a figure snatch the adorned corpse from my back. He saw the jewelry and sprinted off down the street, my wife's bones clattering behind him. The crowd descended. A flurry of fists and feet rained down on me as I curled into a ball on the concrete. Ash from the uncontrolled fire began to fall like a gray snow, settling on my broken body and the spreading pool of my own blood. My last sight was the building, fully engulfed in a glorious, terrible blaze. And from within the heart of the fire, I felt it watching, its glee blazing for hours, long after I was gone.